Last year, we highlighted how much higher road casualties are in the City of Westminster than in any other London borough. We have now updated this with the latest casualty numbers from Transport for London for 2013. The broad picture is almost unchanged, with little being done to reduce road danger for the City of Westminster's residents and the tens of thousands of tourists, shoppers and workers who arrive each day. Amongst the 33 London boroughs in 2013, there were almost 30% more road casualties in Westminster than in any other borough. Far more people were killed and seriously injured in Westminster than in any other borough. Westminster now has the highest number of cyclists who are killed and seriously injured of any borough. The numbers of pedestrians killed and seriously injured are again far higher than in any other borough. Amongst car occupants, the numbers killed and seriously injured are amongst the lowest in London. Since 2005, the number of car occupants killed and seriously injured each year in Westminster has fallen consistently and totalled just 7 in 2013. Over the same period, the number of cyclists killed and seriously injured, shown in red, has risen from 31 in 2005 to 43 in 2013. The numbers of serious and fatal pedestrian casualties, shown in blue, have been rising steadily since 2010. Those on foot and those who cycle now make up almost 3/4 of those killed and seriously injured on Westminster's roads every year. Car occupants are just 4% of the total. Danger continues to migrate even further away from those in vehicles to those who walk and cycle. So, what should the City of Westminster do to make its roads safer for residents and visitors? Slower speeds are the single most effective way of reducing road casualties. Landmark research on 20-mile-an-hour zones found that casualties fall by almost half. The introduction of 20-mile-an-hour speed limits alone can cut casualties by more than 1/4. Across London, boroughs are now changing their speed limit from 30 to 20 miles an hour to reduce casualties and to encourage more people to walk and cycle. Islington, Camden, the City of London and Southwark all have 20-mile-an-hour speed limits on all of the roads which they manage. Lambeth, Lewisham and Hackney are planning to introduce 20-mile-an-hour limits on all of the roads which they manage. Other boroughs are planning wide-scale use of 20-mile-an-hour limits. Transport for London has itself introduced 20-mile-an-hour speed limits on a number of its red routes. The map shows the boroughs which have adopted 20-mile-an-hour speed limits or are planning to adopt them. In Westminster, just one road has a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. Westminster says that there is little demand for 20-mile-an-hour speed limits and continues to reject all requests for them from its residents. It is time for the City of Westminster to take seriously its duty of care to residents and visitors and introduce policies including 20-mile-an-hour speed limits that can bring down the number of casualties on its roads.